Okay, C. We can start the same place, distributing that exponent. So if I want to do that, this is a 9 to the first, so you multiply those exponents. 1 times 1/2 is 1/2. X, 2 times 1/2 is just 1. You don't have to write that 1 there, you can leave it off. Y, 1/3 times 1/2, 1/6. Over, we also have to take that 1/2 to everything down here, so X, 1/3 times 1/2. And this was y to the first, so 1 times 1/2 is 1/2. Okay, let's clean this up a little bit. 9 to the 1/2. Remember we talked about a fraction exponent is the same as a radical. So 1/2 just means it's the square root of 9, which is 3. Okay, my x's, they're on top and bottom, so we subtract exponents. And it will end wherever you have a bigger exponent. So which one is bigger, 1 or 1/6? 1. That's on top, so this will be on top. And then you're just doing 1 minus 1/6. Okay, now, I like to be able to think that you can do that in your head. But if you're really getting hung up on the things like that, don't stress over that. Use your calculator. Remember, if you don't have a calculator, use the TI calculator on your Chromebook. So don't get hung up on the fractions. Please do not change this to a decimal. When you type it in, keep it as a fraction. So 1 minus 1/6 is 5/6. Y's, 1/6 or 1/2, which one's bigger? 1/2, so we're going to take it down here. So we have to do 1/2 minus 1/6. And what's that give me? Yep, 2/6, which is 1/3. You have to have a common denominator, right? 1/2 is 3/6 minus 1/6. 2/6 or 1/3. Try one more ugly one. Maybe. Let's do this one. We have a couple parentheses here, so we are going to have to deal with each of those to start with. So if I'm dealing with just this piece right now, we take our 1/3 in, multiply it with our exponent. So 2 times 1/3 gives me 2/3. My y, it was to the first, times 1/3 is just 1/3. Okay, now if we deal with the second group, x was to the first, so that becomes x to the 2/3. Y, 2 times 2/3 is 4/3. the numerator, on the top here, if you are multiplying and these x's are written each time, what do we do with those exponents? Add them. So a power to a power we multiply, but if the base is written each time, we add those. So 2/3 plus 2/3 is 4/3. For my y, 1/3 plus 4/3 is 5/3. We're not done yet. What else do we have to do? Right. When we're dividing, what do we do to the exponents? Subtract. Okay, so for my x's, we have more on top, so it will stay on top. 4/3 minus 2/3, 2/3. For my y's, we have more on top. 5/3 minus 2/3 is just 1, so I can just write a y. Do I have to put something on the denominator of this? No. You can write over 1, but there's really no need to. If everything ends on top, we don't need to write it as a fraction. Okay, so these were the types of problems we were working on Tuesday when you guys were at home. We did some pretty ugly ones right there. What questions do you guys have for me? All right, then I want to switch gears just a little bit. If you've logged into your Math Excel, and hopefully you have, so you started this homework assignment, the very first question has problems like this, and it's like a matching. Gives you 6 problems, and then A, B, C, D, E, and you have to match them. Now, I know, I'm fully aware you guys have a calculator, and you can plug this in your calculator and get an answer, and that's all well and good, but when I start throwing variables in there, that's no longer an option. So we need to know what this means. The fraction exponent can be written as a radical. When you do that, the denominator is your index on the radical. Now, on a square root, you don't have to write the 2. I'm just showing you exactly where this is coming from. The numerator is just like an exponent. So really, all this problem is asking me to do is the square root of 36, which is 6. B. A 1/4 power means what radical? 4th root. Okay, now here's my question for you. What do I put under my radical? Do I put the negative or not? Why? First of all, if you have a negative under an even radical, like a square root, a 4th root, a 6th root, you're going to end up with an imaginary answer. Second, exponents only touch what's directly in front of them. If there is a negative out in front, the exponent does not apply to that. So my negative stays out here. So I have the negative 4th root of 1,296. You guys may not know that one off the top of your head. Why don't we all try using the calculator on your Chromebook just to make sure you all know how to pull it up if you don't have your own. That's what we will have to use during our tests and everything this year because mine's gone. Do you guys still have it on yours? Okay. Mine has disappeared do you guys know how to put in a fourth root? On these graphing calculators, if you hit 4 and then go math, number 5, that turns it into a fourth root. So if you wanted a sixth root, you would do 6 and then go math number 5. All right, and what do you guys get? 6. Since we had that negative out here, it just stays. So negative 6 is our answer. Did everybody get that on Chromebook? Any questions about how to type that in? I've got a lot of examples up here. I'm not going to do all of them, so I'm going to skip for a second. And I'm going to go down to, I'm going to skip that one. Let's do this one. So your example C. Negative 27 to the 2/3. This time, will the negative go under the radical? Yes, because it's inside the parentheses. Exponents touch what's directly in front of it. Directly in front of my 2/3 is the parentheses. So everything in that parenthesis goes under my radical. Okay, what number goes out here? The 3, and then my square can go outside. It's okay to have a negative if you're talking about an odd radical. So cube root, fifth root, seventh root, those work. The cube root of negative 27 is what? Negative 3. So we have a negative 3 squared. If you take a negative and square it, what do you get? Positive. So we get positive 9. Last one of these. To the negative 3/4 power. So first of all, the exponent is negative. What does that mean? Drops down to the bottom. A 3/4, so what number goes outside my radical? 4, 16 here, and the 3. The 4th root of 16. That's square root, yeah, 2. So then we have 1 over 2 to the 3rd, and 2 to the 3rd is 8. Any questions on that type of problem? We are almost done. There's really just a couple things that I want to talk about. I want to factor with some of these uglier exponents. We did a lot of factoring last week, so the factoring itself isn't new, but we didn't have negative exponents or fraction exponents when we did that. Okay, so 2 terms. First step to factoring, we always look for greatest common factor. Start with the coefficients. 28 and 21. We can take out 7. Okay, if I gave you like 28y to the 5th plus 21y squared, let's say that exponents weren't negative, how would you know what to pull out for your y's? You would pull out the y squared, the smaller number. So we're doing the same thing here. What is smaller, negative 5 or negative 2? Negative 5, right? 28 divided by 7 is 4. We had y to the negative 5, we took it out, so those y's are gone. Plus 21 divided by 7 is 3. Okay, let's think about this for a second. When you pull out y to the negative 5, it's like dividing by it. When we divide, we subtract exponents. So what's negative 2 minus negative 5? 3. So when you pull out your greatest common factor, it should make all the exponents inside your parentheses positive. If you still have a negative exponent here, you did pull out the smallest thing that you could. Let's try some more of those. Actually, why don't you guys try this one on your own? Okay. 18 and 12. What are those both divisible by? 3 goes into them, but 6 does as well. So let's go with the bigger number. So if we take out a 6, okay, we have to take out the smaller exponent. So we have 4/3 and 1/3. Smallest piece is 1/3. Okay, 18 divided by 6 is 3. With these ends, when you factor it out, you're subtracting your exponents. So 4/3 minus 1/3 is 3/3, which is 1. So it's just a 3n. 12 divided by 6 is 2. Into the 1/3, if I take out into the 1/3, that's 5. So this is our final answer. We have 2 terms. We factored some like this when we were doing the greatest common factors, where we had an entire parenthesis we have to pull out. So we're going to take out that x plus 3. Negative 2/5 and positive 3/5, so the negative 2/5 is smaller. So if we take that out, if you take out the entire thing, what do you put here? A 1. Just like if I had 2 divided by 2. When you divide something by itself, you get 1. Minus, here we didn't take them all out, so we still have an x plus 3. Subtract your exponents. 3/5 minus negative 2/5. That's 5/5, which is just 1. But we can simplify that a little more. This negative, you have to distribute. So I have a 1 and a negative 3, which is a negative 2, plus a negative x, so just minus x. So you could write it that way. If you wanted, you could pull the negative out of this parenthesis if you chose to do so. You would just put that out in the front. And then it would be a 2 plus x or x plus 2. So a couple ways we could write that. Let's do one last factoring example. 2x plus 1 plus 2x to the 4th. So I'm looking at two terms here. Coefficient-wise, 4/3 and 2. What do you want to take out? It's not as obvious as if I just had like a 2 and a 4. What we were doing before is if we had a fraction, we usually pulled that out just to kind of clean things up a bit. Let's just take out I'm only going to take out 2/3. Okay, the reason being, I need to take out the 3 on the bottom. If you're looking at the numerators, 4 and 2, what would you take out from there? Just a 2. So I'm only going to pull out a 2/3. They both have x's. What's smaller, 1/2 or 4/3? 1/2. This has a 2x plus 1, but that one doesn't, so I can't pull it out. Alright, if you don't know how to divide those, or you're struggling with that a bit, use your calculator. If I took out 2/3, I need to do 4/3 divided by 2/3, or flip and multiply. I get 4 over 2, which is just 2. I took out my x, we still have 2x plus 1. 2 divided by 2/3, so you flip and multiply. Those 2's drop and we just get a 3. For my x, you subtract exponents, so 4/3 minus 1/2. And you get 5/6. Final step. I'm just going to distribute that 2. So we get a 4x plus 2 plus 3x to the 5/6. There are no like terms, so I just leave it like that. That is the end of section 5. So, what we're going to do is we will quickly grade that R.4 homework you have for me. Then your assignment that I actually assigned on Tuesday is the section R.5 in the Math Excel program. I have that set so it will be due at 3 p.m. tomorrow. After 3 p.m., then it's considered late work and it will automatically deduct 25% off your score. So, the Math Excel, it wasn't a very long assignment. It's like, I don't remember, 10, 12 problems that you've had since Tuesday, so hopefully you've done some of those. If not, you need to get that done by tomorrow. If you have any questions within that, you can shoot me an email. If you use the Ask My Instructor button, it will send me the problem you're on, and I can help you with that. Tomorrow, you guys won't be here, but you're still responsible. I am starting section R.6. There will be a handout posted in Classroom. We're going to spend tomorrow and Monday on that section, so the one handout is for both days. Any questions for me there?